Nice to see you, Jennifer. Tell us why you would quarantine in New Zealand.
New Zealand has control over the virus, so we can start with that. I think New Zealand is the most beautiful place on the planet, and I guess I've traveled now to 55 plus countries, so I still have a great deal left of the world to see, but it's peaceful, it's quiet, and there are not many people around. And the people who are around are extremely witty and friendly, so that's good company.
That sounds amazing. I really enjoy all of your travel updates on social media. You've done such a great job of just really like leveraging this time to, as a coach, like all over the world, you've done such an incredible job of just like bridging those two together. What advice? I was on the networking on the session earlier on for like young professionals, like careers. What advice would you give students leaving colleges right now and graduating right now and going into the workforce during a pandemic?
You mean in general or internationally speaking?
Leveraging like social media, leveraging like online community, because you just do such an incredible job at it.
Wow. Well, thank you for the compliment, Tina. Very much appreciated. Obviously, I have time on my hands, so, well, that's coming to a close. But so advice, what I would say is I have never in my entire life seen so much available information from all around the world accessible for free. So whatever particular career, course of study, position, country, theme, really, whatever you're looking for, information is available for free, and people are wide open to connection at this point in time like I've never seen before. So take advantage of it.
Yeah, just when I think about like an organization that we both love so much, the Phoenix Committee on Foreign Relations, when I think about the access to incredible speakers from all over the world now that this organization has, and that's just one. You know, like there are so many incredible organizations that are bringing all of these things. You don't have to travel anywhere. You can. One of my friends ended up being in a Zoom room call like this with one of our favorite authors and got to ask her questions about a book that she wrote that would have never happened otherwise.
I had the opportunity to ask questions of the Mexican ambassador to the U.S., Ambassador Barcena, the other day. Well, she was doing a call somewhere, I think, in Raleigh. I've listened in on calls from Colombia, Mexico City, Austrade, so the Australian Trade Commerce Organization. You know, and sometimes this all happens within a day. So, you know, if your eyes are open, the information and the opportunity is there, point blank.
Yeah, no, 100%. And, you know, even this conference, you know, normally this, you know, you would have, I live in Central Phoenix. While any excuse to go to Flagstaff, I will take it because I adore Flagstaff and my family owns a home in Muntz Park. So I spend a lot of time up there. But under normal circumstances, like maybe we wouldn't be as likely to make the travel up to Flagstaff. Whereas now, like, Luis Ramirez, Melissa Sanderson, like you, me, we're all able to take part of this incredible university's work, and we're not in Flagstaff.
Right. No, I was very excited to see that this came up because, as you know, I haven't been in the States for many years, so I'm not aware of the annual events that take place. And as you said, so yeah, for the past 2 days, I've been participating in a huge business networking event in Hermosillo, Sonora, but obviously I'm not there. So, but I was presenting to Mexican companies for the past few days. I mean, the opportunities, really, whatever you're looking for is there right now. So I think, honestly, no one has any excuses. That's how I look at it.
No. Awesome. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for hanging out with me for a little bit. I'd love to bring on Daniel Perez Ambrosi now. And let's chat a little bit about Barcelona. And then I'll queue up Luke after, who would like to quarantine in Scotland. So Luke, get ready to come on after Daniel. Hi, Daniel. How are you?
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Thanks so
I'm not
much
sure
for coming on.
I'm not sure why my camera is not showing.
There's the HD button, and then there's like, and then there's
I'm
like
supposed
the
to be
normal
the
one.
I don't know. Anyway, let me just try something. If not, we'll just talk.
No worries. But yeah, I'd love. Where are you? So, are you from Barcelona?
We belong to Spain, but we're located in like north West Africa, close to the southern coast of Morocco. So it's an archipelago that belongs to Spain.
Yeah.
But yeah, geographically speaking, we're African, really. So
that's so cool. So so you live in Arizona, correct?
I live in Barcelona right now. I'm in Barcelona right now. I did spend some time in Tucson, Arizona, because the company Scary is from Arizona. But I am in Barcelona right now.
See, this is so fantastic. We're all contributing to this great conference that's been going on all morning, and we're from all over the place. Okay, so as a Barcelona local, what is your go-to wine that you would recommend to us?
Well, it has so much to offer. So it's all about your interests, and like if you like gastronomy, you're in the right place, right? So if you like food, here the offer here is tremendous. Not only local, but the fusion we've created with having so many people from all over the world visiting us every year. Unfortunately, this year it's not happening. It's not that great. It's kind of sad to see the city this empty, but it's a great place. The climate is amazing. You're by the sea, by the water. If you take your car 1 hour ride, you're in the mountains. You can visit vineyards. You can do any types of sports. Then from a cultural perspective, I mean, the history here in Barcelona is great. What people like Gaudí created here, the modernism, the architecture. So if you're into that, this is really the place to be. The Sagrada Familia, this unfinished project, right? That we don't even know when it's going to be finished, right? They say 2040, who knows, right? But it's amazing. So I've been here for 10 years now, and I'm not even thinking of going back to the islands or anywhere else. So.
Well, we hope you visit us in Arizona soon, and go up to Flagstaff and visit the awesome.
Definitely. I passed by Flagstaff, but I've never been to Flagstaff, so that's definitely on my bucket list.
Awesome. Okay, thanks so much for joining us, Daniel. Luke,
my pleasure.
Come on next and tell us why you would like to quarantine in Scotland. And everybody else, please either post in the poll or in the chat. We'd love to bring you on. And oh, it's Luke Wenz, my good friend. How are you, Luke?
Good. How are you? Can you hear me, Tina?
Yes. So, Luke, welcome. Tell us why Scotland.
Well, during quarantine, it sounds like no other better place than to sit around and drink scotch. So I'd prefer to be in the Emerald Plains of Scotland, preferably in Islay, which is where all the peated scotch is, and that's my favorite type. And beautiful open plains, and sit out there and enjoy being by myself in these times of quarantine.
I know. So if you had to quarantine with one type of scotch, what would it be?
Probably Octomore. It's considered one of the most peated scotches in the world. It's out of my daily price range, but if you're living on a hillside in a tent for a couple of months, I think you can make it work. It's probably my favorite. I've always got a couple of bottles sitting around for special occasions.
And what has been your favorite session this morning? What's been the main takeaway from the conference?
This one. Are you kidding me, Tina? Anytime I get to listen to you and I get to see my good friends Jennifer Burge and Kristen Allen, most wonderful people alive, and hear from a nice gentleman from Barcelona, you just can't beat that. So what a to meet everybody and to spend time with you guys this fine morning. Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, it's been to be able to do this and bring so many people who care about like workforce development, economic opportunity, and all of Arizona in such a big way is wonderful. And I have to give it to Kristen Allen, the way that he's been able to really bring NAU and like make, not that NAU was not part of like the Phoenix ecosystem at all, but it's so integrated when it comes to just, being a part of all of the leadership organizations, including the USGLC, which Kristen Allen is a member of, right?
Yes, absolutely. And one of our best, by the way. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more, Tina. Kristen, the amount of work that you have done, not just in the context of creating the conditions in which Flagstaff is seen as a global community and NAU is seen as a leader in the international space, but the work that you've done that is integrated south of our border, as well as really engaged both not just the Flagstaff area and NAU, but really the entirety of the state. You are one of the leading leaders in foreign policy work. Our good friend Daniel Palm, also with NAU, is phenomenal as well. But just thankful for all the work you do and your team does. You're really making a difference.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, Luke, thanks so much for joining us. I'm going to bring on one more person, Jasmine, before we move on to the next poll question, which I have a very funny story behind, which is why I thought I would ask this of everybody. So Jasmine, come on and join us. Jasmine is actually one of my colleagues at an organization that I work for, Seat Spot, and she is a fellow, and she just joined. And when I told her I was going to moderate this session, she was really interested in wanting to join this conference and has been really enjoying the morning session. So Jasmine, whenever you're ready, come on video or not. We'd just love to hear from you and where this cabin of your dreams would be. Okay, we'll give Jasmine a couple more seconds. Oh, I've got Kristen, which is great.
Jump on. I couldn't get my camera activated in time before, but I just wanted to thank both you and Luke so much for the kind words. It really is so important at Northern Arizona University that we have not just a connected global network, but that we're also connected on our local levels all across the state of Arizona. So I'm very thankful to you, Tina, for being here to moderate our networking session today, and to so many that have participated so actively in our conference. Thanks.
Yeah, and I just, to think of NAU as just such a global leader when it comes to it, especially for Arizona, it's so huge, because when people think of, if you're in a different country and you think of Arizona, maybe you think of Phoenix. But like Flagstaff is on the map thanks to the work that you guys have done to really expand the organization's reach, globally.
100%, and I can't speak for all of my colleagues, but all of my colleagues at the Center for International Education are doing incredible work. I do work very specific to Mexico and Latin America, but really we do have incredibly strong partnerships and thriving programs all across the world, China, India, across countries in Africa. So I'm just so proud to be a part of it.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite story from the past, year? Just that just really, when you go back to, you say, we're making such a big impact here.
Well, as everybody already knows, and that's why we're here today in this virtual format, things have changed incredibly in terms of the way that we work and the way that we connect. And the first year and a half that I've been with NAU for a little over 2 years now, and the first year and a half, there was a lot of travel. That's how we would keep in touch with our partners, and that's how we would grow our programs, would be that actual physical interaction. And we were really, I think all universities and all companies were probably very nervous when things started in terms of how are we going to continue these relationships. And we have seen how we've been able to not just maintain our relationships through technology, but we've even grown them. We've gone we've gone to new lengths to grow different kinds of programs, creating entirely online programs that never existed before, which is actually creating much more connectivity and mobility that we didn't see with other partners. So yeah, I think that that's probably been the most exciting thing, is that we turned fear of change and adapting to a new environment into actually being able to capture some really tangible and meaningful partnerships.
So, Kristen, there's actually a question for you in the chat. Luke would love to hear about Mo the Stud, and I do too.
Well, I'll say this quickly because I definitely want some other folks to come on and say hello. But okay, for those of you that do not know my four-legged fur son, Mo the Screaming Staffy, he's pretty well known across Arizona and social media. He is an American Staffordshire Terrier, otherwise known as a pit bull type dog, and he's become very known for his unique voice, or scream, if you will call that. So when I am not working on partnerships, building partnerships in Latin America, I am advocating for pit bull type dogs.
That's awesome. I thought maybe Mo. I love following Mo on social media. Very cute dog, and we'll have to get. I have two border collies. One of them was walking around. He's laying down there, and dogs are having the best lives ever during the pandemic, and I cannot imagine a life without seeing them nonstop and them just being around. Speaking of dogs, my dog Duke, the troublemaker, ate my husband's Invisalign yesterday.
Oh no, Invisalign! I hope he was either done with that one or
no. It's a very expensive replacement. So the house was a little bit chaotic yesterday with lots of, just not good words being thrown around. But yeah, so
mischief sometimes.
You love them. Well, thanks so much for coming on. Okay, Jasmine, let's have you come on because we are ready to go to the next polling question, which is we're going to have a lot of fun with. And part of the reason why I wanted this question is because I grew up in the former Yugoslavia. English is not my first language. My native language is Albanian. I'm Kosovar Albanian. And while I've been in this country for 22 years, since 1999, there are some words that I just don't say right, or I completely mess up, and some words that I can't say the way that most Americans would say them to this day. So our next poll question, I'm going to share my screen. So you all have your phones. Please, or text or go to, if you have it pulled up, go ahead and answer the following question. What is the last word that you mispronounced? So either type it in the poll, you can text legit winter 376 to 22333. And those pecan mimosa. Okay, please put your name next to your answer so that we can bring you on, because I really need to know the pecan and mimosa, like how that word was mispronounced. As those are coming in, I will tell you the last word I mispronounced. So if you live in Phoenix, there's this seafood shop called Nelson's, and they have, it's next to the Wandering Tortoise, and they have like the most incredible seafood. Basically, and the best seafood you can find, it's at Nelson's. So recently I went to a friend's house for dinner, and they served the salmon that she had told me. She's like, once we discovered salmon from Nelson's, like we cannot eat normal salmon. And the salmon is so good. It comes with a price tag because it's so delicious, but I promise you it's super worth it. The part is that it's not from Alaska. It's a king salmon, but it's from the Faroe Islands. But I kept saying the Faroe Islands the entire time until my husband corrected me in front of someone. It's like, hey, it's like, you're not saying this right. And it's one of those things that I've just learned to embrace because, you know, I don't know how I got the Faroe Islands from Faroe Islands, but it, you know, it just happened. So it's one of those things that reminds you to take things lightly and not take yourself so seriously. But, you know, we're all trying. So, but if you go to Nelson's, definitely pick up that salmon. Okay, Greg, let's bring you on because I'm even having a hard time saying this. So I'm going to have you talk to us about the last word that you mispronounced. So Greg, wherever you are, make a request to come hey, how are you?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Where are you coming from today?
Page, Arizona.
Awesome. Page is very beautiful.
It is. Yeah.
So tell us about your little mispronunciation gate.
Well, first, don't make me say the word, for God's sake. While I am the economic development coordinator for the city of Page, my background's in clinical psychology, and as I've switched out of the counseling therapy role into economic and municipal government, I still have a passion for psychology, so I teach Psych 101 at our Coconino Community College.
Okay.
And as we're talking about defense mechanisms, I used intellectualization, there we go, as a defense mechanism, but could not get it out, and the 17 students who are young students had to correct me, and it was very embarrassing, I'll tell you that much.
How did you recover from it, or did you just laugh it off?
I slapped, you know, the emoji with the hand on the forehead. That's exactly what I did. I said, see, look at you guys are all psychologists in the making. So hopefully we had a little bit of fun with it, but it's a hell of a word. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. So Greg, what's been your favorite session this morning? Like your main takeaway from the conference?
I'm a big Joseph Guzman fan. I love Dr. Guzman, and during the height of during the very beginning of the pandemic lockdown, him and I were on the phone quite frequently talking about economic impact and surveys and how we can get a gauge on what COVID is doing to our financials and our economy as a whole. So anytime Dr. Guzman's talking, I love listening, and that would be my favorite.
Yeah, he's, I just had the opportunity to meet Dr. Guzman for the first time. And and then I looked at his LinkedIn and looked at his incredible background, and to think how humble he is, and how approachable, and that's the perfect kind of person you want leading a think tank, you know, at a top-notch university like NAU. So
and I also put Dana Point, California. I didn't put my name next to it, but that's where I'm from. And during the holidays, I always long for some nostalgia. So nothing like walking the streets that you walked maybe 20 years ago to kind of brighten up otherwise intense 2020. I don't want to say bleak. I don't want to say terrible. I just want to say it's an intense year of 2020.
So why Dana Point?
That's where I'm from. That's where I grew up.
Oh, this is where you grew up?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. So have you been back at all?
We go back every year for our summer vacation, my family and I, but due to the pandemic, we thought it was best just to play it safe, be home, work on some home projects, camp in the backyard, that kind of stuff.
What's been like the one home project that you're like, oh, I would have never gotten this done without like the pandemic?
So I own one of the few houses in Page that has grass and trees, and when I don't just have a little bit of grass and trees, I have a lot of bit of grass and trees. So tree trimming, fixing the water lines to the sprinklers, painting, exterior, getting on the roof, which I should never be on the roof ever. You know, just typical stuff that I don't typically deal with that I got a chance to really tackle. Organization, oh my gosh. Anybody else who has, I have 4 children myself, so anyone else who has a big family, everyone will understand being organized is the most important key.
Yeah, project management. For sure.
Yeah, and I do that for my job, and I still kind of sucky at it at home.
Well, it's, you know, you have to have everything ready and then things don't get put away. It's a whole thing. If you all saw Luke, just got some awesome bookshelves in his office. I actually have a dream. I'm in 3 book clubs. And I have stacks of books. Like they're just, I don't know where to put them. So my goal is to do a floor to ceiling bookshelf with these lights that are called God lights, where they, you know, I don't know how they're installed, but yeah, the actor from Stranger Things, David Harbour, there's a really cool video about that Architectural Digest did of his apartment in New York. And he's got this amazing bookshelf with a ladder. That's my big dream. So that's going to be my project here.
Yeah, and I have been obsessed with like the do-it-yourself Facebook posts when they're like sped up. So it looks really easy. I'm like, oh, I could do that. I could do that. But they're going at like 100 times the normal rate. So it looks very easy, but I try to stay away from DIY projects.
Yeah, I mean, it can be. I just saw this video about how it's like the Dad Show or something like that, and it's a joke about how IKEA was founded, and it's like, oh, like what if we make other people do the work themselves? And it's just like they go through this whole, you know, mental gymnastics, and it's like, oh, what if, you know, once I was in a corn maze and this inspired, like, and then they say that like the corn maze inspired like the way that you walk through IKEA in general. But there's something to be said when you don't mess up a DIY project and how like, good that can feel, for sure.
Yeah, I definitely got lost in IKEA once. One of those, you know, they do icebreakers at conferences. What's your most embarrassing story? Not only did I get lost in IKEA, I got locked in the IKEA. So we won't need to go there. So I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so I'd love for Mimosa to come on because I just assumed mimosa, you know, when people think about like a flower or like a really delicious beverage. So I'd love to hear the story around mispronouncing the word pecan. So please come on and join us. Or not. Mimosa, I would love to have you on. Okay, while we wait for Mimosa, or in case this doesn't, it's not working, Carmen, if you're still in the room, would you like to join and tell us about the last word you mispronounced? It's nice to see you on here. Do we have Carmen in the room or Mimosa?
Can you hear me?
Hey, nice to see you.
Hey, nice to see you too, Tina.
How are you?
Good, good. It's been pre-COVID time since I saw you in person, so.
It was last, I think it was last Halloween, at my Halloween party.
Yes. Well, it looks like Mimosa's coming on.
Let's both of you stay on. Okay, so tell me the last word you mispronounced.
Well, I have a terrible memory, so I'm sure it's something in Spanish because I know enough to be dangerous in Spanish, but I mispronounce things all the time and I can't remember. But I do know the word gyro. People say it differently, so sometimes I will say it multiple different ways in case somebody doesn't understand. So that was one that came to mind.
So what's been your favorite session this morning? And what's the main takeaway from this conference?
Good question. Well, I was in the USMCA breakout, and I loved a lot of what Luis Ramirez and Mel Sanderson talked about. I think just interesting, and Luis mentioned that it's, you know, we're the border region of Arizona and Sonora is really a very appealing area for Asia and those who want to get kind of closer to their US customers, especially given all that's happened with COVID. So I think that's a great takeaway. And Mel talked about just the need, and I agree with her, for Arizona to come together and really advocate for border infrastructure, for all kinds of good trade stuff. So those were some takeaways.
Yeah, that's awesome. What about you, Melissa? It's nice to meet you.
Hi, it's so nice to see your faces.
So tell us more about your Pecan mispronunciation.
It's a constant battle here with all the holiday things coming up. I get a lot of requests, and I'm actually in Lower Alabama, so we've got a great pecan season, but I continually say it's pecan, and I think it's because I'm originally from the Minnesota area. So it's just a habit for me, unfortunately, but I get a lot of grief for it.
So there is a correct way to say it's pecan, it's not pecan.
I
Or is it both?
say pecan, but it's not pecan, it's pecan.
So what brings you to the conference today?
Well, I'm a upcoming graduating student, and I thought this was going to be a great opportunity to just get my finger on the current state of affairs, what's going on economically, what's going on, what kind of things NAU is doing in the technology field. I thought that was really important, just to have a grasp on those issues so I can be a little more confident when I am heading into the job market. So
how do you feel?
I think, actually, given the circumstances, I really feel like this is a great time to polish up your skills and get out there and maybe do things that you haven't done before. And if you can demonstrate the fact that you're not afraid to get out there and maybe fail in a few things and have technical difficulties, I think that says a lot to potential employers. So
yeah, and it's one of those things where even having the opportunity to be able to interact like this in a really, sometimes a conference can be intimidating. It can, if you don't know someone, you feel, it can take you back to when you were like first day of high school or something. But there's something to be said about how approachable like this kind of interaction is, and it helps reduce barriers, in many ways, and just having access to people that you wouldn't have access to on a regular basis, because people psychologically, we're all in each other's homes, and to just be able to approach people in a different way is really, really interesting.
I agree. It has been very interesting, and I have had the opportunity to be on some Zoom calls that I wouldn't have had otherwise. So it's been interesting, but it's been a great way to learn, just new things and explore different places and meet new people. So it's been great.
So are you an online student then?
I am. I had started my degree program actually on the Flagstaff campus, and I'm former military, so I've since been moved away, and it was time to finish it up and get back out there. So all online.
Well, thank you for your service. Thank you for choosing NAU. If I could go back, I would have definitely I went to the U of A, and while I'm a proud Wildcat, I definitely, knowing what I know now and having the interests that I have now, I definitely would have chosen NAU for sure. But yeah, congrats. When do you graduate?
I'll be finished in November, so a couple weeks. I'm in finals and finishing up all my good time papers. And
well, thanks for making time for this. What's your degree in?
I'm getting a Bachelor of Science in Electronic Media Management. The degree program actually isn't even offered anymore. That's how long ago I started. But it's a business management minor, so it's still pretty applicable. It's just a lot of updated technology skills that I get to work with now that weren't applicable way back then.
Yeah, that's incredible. Well, thank you so much for joining. Congrats. Please stay in touch.
Thanks for having me.
So yeah, thanks for making time for this because in the middle of finals.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Okay. Yeah, thanks for participating and having fun. Okay, so if we have just 9 minutes left. If you're dying to come on and hang out with me on video, please make a request. And we can chit chat over, the conference and just quarantine stuff. I know things are getting pretty scary again. And I know that I'll be definitely keeping things pretty quiet when it comes to the holidays this year. There's something to be said about Thanksgiving coming around, the holidays coming around. I have a bunch of Santa hats coming in the mail, because it's a wonderful time of year. If you're in Flagstaff, the weather's great. We're finally getting to enjoy really good weather in Phoenix. And it's just been, it's been great. Okay, so Jasmine is going to hopefully be joining us in a few minutes. I really appreciate all of you just hanging out today. I know there's some really good sessions, but it was really important for NAU to give people the opportunity to also hang out while this cannot replace in-person interactions. I'm really, really pleased with the work that NAU has put into this conference to make sure that it's as interactive as it possibly can. And please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm Tina Waddington. There are so many great colleagues that I've seen on here from all walks of life. So it's been a wonderful past hour hanging out with you all. Okay, so Jasmine is still having some issues joining us, but I'd love to bring Kristen on and let's and close things up and talk about things that we're looking forward to next year. Kristen, yeah, this has been so fun.
Well, you have done a fantastic job, Tina. Honestly, I this is the first networking session I've been on virtually. I've been on a lot of webinars, a lot of like listening, and I appreciate that you've been able to really use this space to really try to interact with the folks that came into the room today. Thank you, those of you that have been here. It's been fun to get to know you and think about, some different things as well and share some smiles and laughs this morning. So thanks so much for making it a fun way to break up the morning. I hope everyone had their coffee today.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I had I only showed the dog to on Invisalign. But this is Duke. This is the troublemaker. So
he's the one that ate the Invisalign.
Yeah, he's the troublemaker. But no, this is really wonderful, and I think it's going to be interesting to think about how to bring people together in this way, and how to bring more interaction into like these kind of conferences. And you guys, just by having the option, that was really, really, that's really big for NAU to create space for this, for sure.
Most definitely, and you're right. And I hope that this also has served as kind of like a good model, good example, some inspiration for other either schools or organizations, companies to really jump in when it comes to the virtual engagement and kind of. I mean, rather than saying, we're just going to hold off and not do anything because we can't meet in person and it just won't be the same. Well, it's definitely not going to be the same. That's for sure. But it's obvious that we can still have some really great conversations. We can learn from one another from these types of formats. So yeah, I think it's just really important that we embrace the virtual aspect that we are living now. Hi, Jasmine. Glad to see you. I don't know if we can hear you. Is your microphone activated at the top? Do you see a little green dot? There you go.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Hi, Jasmine.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of taking advantage of virtual platforms, finally on here. So it's good to see you both.
So Jasmine, okay, so tell us, so you're a fellow?
Yeah, and I am NAU alumni. I graduated about 2 years ago. Just
Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah, I finished up my master's degree at ASU, but it was all online. So, between the two, it couldn't compete with NAU's beautiful scenery and just amazing, networking opportunities that, were happening during my bachelor's degree at NAU. So it's a pleasure to be here and just to hear all of the topics and the panelists that are very, experienced in these topics, give their insight on the current climate.
We're really happy that you came back. That's awesome.
Oh yes, absolutely. I'm so happy to be here.
Jasmine, I know you and I were texting earlier because we both work. Jasmine is a fellow at Seed Spot. Tell me, I know you really enjoyed the Young Professionals Advice panel. What was the takeaway from that for you?
Yeah, so I mean, just to be honest, my basically career path kind of, was a little shook by COVID. So I finished up my master's degree in digital audience strategy. And after graduation, we were in the midst of COVID. So I really, wasn't sure, what opportunities were happening, especially in the nonprofit industry. So I decided to do an apprenticeship through a program called Public Allies. And I ended up placing at Seed Spot where, Tina was a coworker of mine. So it's just been a really awesome opportunity working with, entrepreneurs right now in the space and the climate that we're in, to help people rethink and reshape their businesses and adapt to this virtual reality we're in now.
Yeah, but especially for you to be able to have this, opportunity to join this conference. Okay, we're wrapping up, but what advice would you give to the students who are graduating this December and in May, having graduated during a pandemic?
Right. My advice would be to virtually connect in any capacity with any organizations you're interested in, like following those organizations you are potentially would want to be hired at on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, because that virtual support, everybody's looking at that virtual support right now, and you can get your name out there and potentially, have an employer find you, given your experience and, everything that's on your social platforms.
Yeah, and I would say, I'll wrap up by saying, say yes to everything. If someone asks for your help when it comes to volunteer, please don't shy away from all of it, because that's how you build a network. That's how you build relationships and your social capital, especially in a state that's so interconnected. Yes, NAU, ASU, U of A might be in different cities, but there's so much that happens in Phoenix that affects all of us. We're all, we're all pushing for a stronger economy in Arizona, a stronger university system, a better education system. So say yes to everything, learn in any way that you can. No experience is wasted. But yeah, thanks so much for joining, everybody. I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference, and I look forward to connecting with you. Please connect with me on LinkedIn, and we'll see you soon.